it got worse. It got worse. It became more like what we were expecting it to be. Yeah, Starfleet Academy, episode 2. Now the teen drama begins, and this episode is all about bringing Betazoid back into the Federation. Or at least that's what it's about in the background, because it's actually about, you know, teen stuff. Falling in love, getting googly eyes, and all of that sort of crap. It's exactly what the show was always going to be. There were a lot of things in this episode that were immensely stupid, of course, because it's new Star Trek. However, it was nice to see an attempt to handle a Star Trek style story in the sense of a negotiation to bring Betazoid back into the Federation. It was nice for them to sort of try and do that. It was a very simplistic story with a very simplistic outcome, but that's simplistic because the writers are simplistic, and there's only really one level they can write at anyway. But it was nice of them to attempt a Star Trek style story, but of course they had to have the teen stuff going on in the background. So Caleb, he has apparently tried to escape Starfleet Academy several times. He tries again, and he meets one of the Betazoid delegation. She runs into him. She catches him trying to escape, and it's the main ambassador, leader, negotiator's daughter. And they start, you know, spending time together, attracted to each other. Meanwhile, the Federation are trying to negotiate with Betazoid. Betazoid are like, we like our wall being up, and if you want us to knock our wall down, you're going to have to make concessions. And the Federation are like, well, yeah, we can make some concessions, but we can't make all concessions because some of those concessions are far too costly a concession to make. And then just some standard shit happens. Betazoid decide, yeah, we'll drop the walls at the end of the episode, and we'll do that because you guys have said that you're going to base your entire government on Betazoid, rather than on Earth, where it's been since the beginning, and it's all about capacity for change and making compromises. And, you know, there's some elements of Star Trek there. I'm not going to lie, there are some elements of Star Trek, but again, it's the delivery, and it falls completely flat on its face. Some notable things in this second episode that I noticed, because they're noticeable. Noticeable things. So the episode opens with a bit of a monologue from Captain Hi-Fi. For Starfleet, they have expectations. Yeah, they're not regimented fully, but they have expectations. Turn up on time. Make your bed. It will help you become a better Starfleet officer. I don't think the Femidar is actually inspecting anybody's quarters for cleanliness and order, you know, in all the chaos. God, it feels like such a soft school. It really does. I've now been focused on Academy for the last 7 hours of my day. This is... I have to admit, I was bored throughout this entire episode, despite them actually making it the tiniest, tinsiest bit of effort. We get one of, is it Rok-Toa's species from Prodigy, the big rock creature. We actually see another one, and, you know, it was nice to see fully animated. I like Prodigy for the most part. It was very well animated. Kurtzman hated it. That's why it got cancelled, because it was actually pretty close to Star Trek. Apparently, sharing rooms is fascist. It's just cleared the absolute definition of fascism. That was actually said. Sharing rooms, really hilarious. Sharing a room is just the definition of fascism. There's one scene where Akai and Femidar are moving physically away from the Doctor, from the holographic Doctor. They're just moving away. Clearly, either they don't like holograms. I can't remember if it was explained or not. I don't think it was. It was just they're moving awkwardly around this turbo lift, I think it is. And this exocomp keeps moving because they just keep moving further away from the Doctor. Yeah, I thought you had tolerance for all different forms of life. I didn't really pay an awful lot of attention this episode because it was just teen drama. Literally as 90210 as they come. So the Betazoid girl, she has an inhibitor on her neck because if she gets the Fifis too badly, she's going to lose control. And we all know what happens when people lose control. They get angry and they start shouting cauliflower at everything. It was exactly what I expected it to be, and it's much closer to what I expected Academy to be. Rather than the first, I think the first episode was actually stronger than this episode because the first episode was setting everything up. This episode, we delve straight into life on campus. Once again, it's like a complete and utter Easter egg fest. There's no stopping those Easter eggs. They're friggin' everywhere. Captain Akai, she doesn't like shoes. She likes to walk around barefoot, which I sincerely hope she doesn't do in the middle of a battle. We already know that she likes to sit awkwardly on chairs, like she's reading a book in a comfortable Sunday sitter in the corner of a library. She ends up negotiating with Caleb instead of straight up ordering him to spend time with these Betazoids and give them the tour of the school. He actually ends up negotiating with her, trying to get some reduced time of his hard labour that he got for breaking the rules in the last episode. So he actually tries to negotiate with her instead of just, I don't know, being ordered to, following protocol, being a good Starfleet officer. I mean, I get the rebellious nature and everything. I do understand that, and having to put that into your show. Even the Femme Hadar seems to be somewhat castrated in that sense of she goes, oh, I need to kick his ass, and the captain, she's like, he's had his ass kicked far too much over his life. For the last 17 years, he's had his ass kicked. And it's like, well, yeah, but he's in this organisation. This organisation wouldn't survive. This new Starfleet Academy. It wouldn't survive. It wouldn't be churning out officers of quality at all. Two people meet and they start flirting and smiling at each other, making googly eyes and stupid faces and all of that, and all that's going on while there's a negotiation to bring Beta-Z into the Federation once again, because Beta-Z got cut off from the Federation during the burn because the Federation just, decided to be not the Federation anymore, and just Starfleet decided to leave Earth, and, well, we all know what happened, or we all think we know what happened because they didn't explain it particularly well during the Discovery era. It's just like all the dilithium blew up and suddenly everyone said fuck you to each other and decided not to be part of the Federation anymore because they couldn't get anywhere, because dilithium crystals being blown up tends to put a stop to warp travel. I don't know. And then this episode comes along, the second episode of your 10 episode season, and it is the most frightfully uninteresting, dull thing I've ever seen. With a hint of Star Trek, for sure, as I said it previously, they at least handle a Star Trek type scenario, which is a negotiation to bring people into the Federation. It's literally just the laziest plot point, and it's handled so lazy that genuinely the more interesting thing is the teen drama that's happening, but you think, well, it's just teen drama. I'm not interested in that at all. It's shocking, absolutely shocking. Robert Picardo, again in the episode, he was there just to be the tenor, just to sing at the event, and that was pretty much it. We got an opening with some of the classes that they take, and we see Jet Reno. Fuck me. Oh, I hate Jet Reno. I really fucking hate Jet Reno as a character. Absolute. They're doing some of the classes. The Doctor is carrying out a class. I really thought they'd utilise the Doctor a little bit more, but of course the Doctor's only there to be part of the referential trek that has, that came before. I think the Doctor's just another Easter egg, disappointingly, because Robert Picardo's got real potential with Robert Picardo to do some pretty wonderful things, to teach some great lessons. I mean, this guy's 500, 600, 700 years old at this point. He's seen things. He's probably the wisest of them all. He's probably wiser than Captain Akai. But no, they don't utilise him for philosophy or, advanced medical science, or the fact that he's been around, he's clearly survived the burn, he's been around for centuries. No, he's there to sing and provide entertainment, and that's it. What an underutilisation of a character. Absolutely ridiculous. Starfleet is about knowing the people around you and caring about the people around you, and it's just, okay, try and redefine Starfleet again. Let's just redefine what Starfleet actually is. Because you don't have a fucking clue. You're just like a bad scientist. You're trying to figure out what Star Trek is, and you just keep missing the fucking mark. Or you go, yeah, we'll have a negotiation story. They're in Star Trek, aren't they? So let's just have a negotiation story without having the actual talent to write a decent one. The Betazoids clearly not wanting to be part of the Federation, or they are wanting to be part of the Federation, but they're just playing hardball, and it doesn't go at anything under surface level. There's no sort of depth or nuance to anything. It's literally just generic negotiation. But again, I don't want to seem like I'm conflicted here. Ultimately it is a Star Trek concept and a Star Trek story point for sure. And again, congratulations to them for finally picking a story like that. But you've got no execution there. There's absolutely no proper execution for that at all. It just misses the mark, and it's again just pushed to one side to focus on predominantly the more team related stuff, which is what this show is going to be. I'm not under any delusions. I know that this show is going to be 90210. It's going to be the OC. It's going to be that with a pseudo Star Trek skin. But an incredibly meh episode. I'm already showing early signs of complete boredom. The first episode at least had something more resembling, something interesting. This is, it's just a complete and utter waste of time. Yeah, a waste of time, and it fails to hit that mark of anything resembling a decent episode of television, let alone Star Trek. Younger people might like it. I might be a bit of an old fogey with my old greying beard. I might be out of touch with the young'uns, but I don't think anyone's watching this. And again, it just points to who's this show made for. Because if it's made for younger people, there's great shows out there called Star Trek that if you want to get into Star Trek, they're there and they're very accessible. Star Trek The Next Generation, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Voyager, Star Trek Enterprise, the movies, probably not all of them, but certainly the earlier movies. There's great Star Trek there that young people can get into. You don't need to write this teen crap, OC crap, because people want to watch the OC and 90210, they'll just go and watch that. Or they'll go and watch some equivalent. They're not going to watch Star Trek. Now, how many young people are actually into Star Trek that care about teen drama? If they're coming to Star Trek, they're coming to Star Trek for Star Trek. Not for, oh my God, he's making googly eyes at me. I really feel like I'm connecting with him. And oh my God, she's like so pretty. And I'm connecting with her. And there's this one moment actually when they're having their flirtatious moments. Big reference to the voyage home when they see the humpback whales in San Francisco Bay in the aquarium. But there's this moment later on where she's accusing him of hiding things from her, and she gets arsey with him and goes to walk off, and then he stops her from walking off, and then he gets arsey with her and then claims that fucking victory and just fucking walks off. And I think, yes, there, you see, more teen bollocks, more immature bollocks. Completely useless episode of television. I wouldn't bother. And if this is they're setting the tone for where things are going, then I can tell you, audience is gonna fall off a fucking cliff. That's all I've got to say about this episode. There will be more discussion about predominantly the first episode in my live stream, which is an evening in 10 forward on YouTube tomorrow. That's Friday at 8:30 GMT. So yeah, just stop by, say hello, listen to us drone on about useless Star Trek, because this is useless Star Trek. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, and I have earned your subscription, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on your way out, and I will see you in 10 forward, and then in the next video. Either way, look after yourselves, look after one another. Ta-ta for now.
Stop the violence of the war in my head. Time's the healer, the eraser of all done and said. And as I fall back to my shelter, I know I'll only find peace in your smile.